Hello. Hello, this is Philip Cargom. Welcome to Tea with a Druid 140, brought to you by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. Lovely to hear Brianna and Jacqueline and Huyans and Jordan and Ken are here from Oregon and Spain and France and Cornwall. Yes, somebody was telling me that everybody's in Cornwall at the moment. I don't know if that's true or not. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to see you here. So whether you're watching it now live or whether you're watching it in its recording afterwards, you're very welcome here. And as everybody piles in, let's imagine that we're coming into this forest clearing, this lovely idea of the sacred grove in the Druid tradition. A beautiful clearing in the forest, and we're all gathering. And through the power of magic, whether we're in upstate New York, Abruzzo, Toronto, Scotland, or the New Forest, we can all be together in this one place. Thank you to the gods of the internet. Thank you to, gosh, his name's just gone out of my mind. Tim Berners-Lee, who invented it I think. That through this magic we can be together, something that our ancestors would have found utterly extraordinary, that we could do this now. And I thought, let's cut straight to the chase. Let's go straight to what we really want, which is peace, calm, joy, happiness, illumination, a sense of community and connection. Let's begin our session together with a meditation, and let's talk afterwards. So here we are gathering in the grove, and as you start to get comfortable, just be aware that gradually more and more people are arriving. And so there's a lovely feeling of welcoming, of coming together. You know, those at any kind of gathering, which sadly we're deprived of these days because of the pandemic, but that sense of people coming together, and we're doing it in as best we can in this way. And despite the fact that new people are arriving all the time, and there's that excitement as our community grows with every minute, more people are sitting in the circle, we can start to feel settled and comfortable. Settling into being here together. And we can just start to let go. We can drop everything. I mean that not literally, don't drop the baby, don't drop the cup of tea that you're holding, but you can drop all your concerns. There's a lovely phrase we have in Druid ceremonies, which is, I leave outside all disturbing thoughts. You step into the circle, and the circle is a place where you can just let go of preoccupations and worries and concerns, just to be present, fully present here and now. And a great way to do that is to close one's eyes and to become aware of sounds far away, closer at hand. And then any sounds you might be hearing from within your own body, such as your digestion or your heartbeat or your breathing. And now, if you like, move your awareness to the breath and just breathe in deeply into the belly. Hold. And then let out fully and deeply through the mouth. One more time in your own time. And as you breathe out, just become aware of being seated on the earth. Just in your imagination, you can sense this. Just the earth and this sense of stability that the earth brings. and the energy of the earth, which perhaps you can feel, kind of gentle, slow, healing rhythm that just flows into your body. And it's a much slower rhythm than the rhythm we tend to get into when we use our rational minds and are wide awake and alert. It's almost a dreamy kind of rhythm, which is why people talk about the dream time and earth time. So it's slightly dreamy and slow. And it's very good for us to tune into this because it de-stresses us. And let's tune into the trees around us now, and you can feel them rooted deeply in the earth. And you might be able to sense an awareness of the trees as living beings, rooted deep in the earth, but stretching high up into the air. Each tree a living presence with its own consciousness. You might be able to feel the energy of the trees, that your energy, your aura, your energy field is bathing in the energy field that these trees create. So there's this lovely weaving of tree energy. And of course, it's happening physically too, because the trees are giving out oxygen and they're giving out those essential oils from their leaves, which you're breathing in. And so it's an energetic field, not only at a subtle level, but at a physical level too. And then breathe in deeply now and allow the energy of the sky to flow into you. The energy of the sky flowing into your being, bringing you vitality. The energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And then if you can, don't try to think of anything and just be open to your experience. And just be open to the more than the world of appearances, more than your imagination, more than you can think. Just allowing the idea of more to just flow into you and allow you to open. Because there's so much more to life than we can ever know and ever imagine. So we don't have to strain to acquire it or achieve it. We don't have to get it physically or intellectually. There's just more of everything. There's more energy, there's more beauty, there's more mystery. And it flows through us, opening us to what is known in Druidry as the Arwen of Inspiration. And as we breathe in and breathe out, may Arwen flow through our lives, flow through our beings, so that we are illuminated, healed, blessed, and that this creative energy can flow us too, so that we can fulfill our potential and truly express all that we need to express in our lives. May our lives be filled with love, joy, happiness, and inspiration. And then allowing that openness to flow and to flow of Arwen, that sense of calm and peace, as much as you wish, as much as feels right for you in the moment. Just gradually allow your awareness of the sacred grove to fade, just as you become aware of the community of people around you in the clearing in the forest. All of us sitting together here, physically from every corner of the globe, but here together now. And being aware of being with this community, gradually allow your awareness of the sacred grove to fade, to become fully present here and now, seated in front of your computer or your tablet. And when you feel ready, just stretch your fingers and toes and open your eyes. So, normally we finish with a meditation, but I just felt like opening us to this sense of otherness, because I think when we think about what spirituality means, why it's worth doing what we do, why we're interested in this, why we spend our time with this, why we're here, it's because we sense that there's more to life than just the world of appearances, just what we hear on the news, just physical matter. We know that the world is extraordinarily mysterious, wonderful, dangerous sometimes, tragic sometimes, but vast and essentially incomprehensible to our physical brains. And what I love about Druidry is that it has this idea at its heart about opening to the more than this. Not in a grasping way of wanting to have more stuff and even more experience, more things, but strangely and paradoxically being open so that the more can flow because one is holding on to less. That's such an interesting paradox, that less is more. Less opens us to more. That the less we can be attached to our egos, to ideas of our personal success or attractiveness or all the wealth or, all the things that we tend to get hung up on, the more we can let go of that, the less we can hold on to these things, the more we can open to this flow. So my thoughts turned to this because I was thinking about Bardism. There's this idea in Druidry about being a bard. And when you first hear it, it can sound kind of strange. You're familiar with this idea of Shakespeare being a bard. So you think about, your mind immediately associates to men in ruffs and strutting about on stages in tights and or people writing poems or singing songs or somebody playing the harp. But of course, if you've got involved in Druidry, if you're starting to learn about it, you'll know that the whole concept of Bardism is actually, in the modern day, the way we work with it in the order is so much more. It's about opening to the artistic within us, but also the entertainer, the person who wants to entertain, who wants to educate, who wants to help, who wants to amuse, who wants to enthrall. It's all those parts of ourselves that want to be of some use in the world, but also to bring beauty. And it is the world of song, it's the world of music, it's the world of poetry, but it's also the world of satire. The bards of old were authorized to be satirical. they weren't punished, so history tells us. They were allowed to satirize the aristocracy and so on. So even political commentary, if you like, comes within the domain of the bard. So when you understand Bardism in that way, you can say, well, this is like the entertainment business. This has got everything in it. It's got song, dancing, music, art, comedy, satire, the whole thing, like that. But here's the difference, I think, from the world of entertainment as we sense it in the modern sense, the Hollywood sense, if you like, is that it's all contained from a bardic or druid point of view. It's all contained within a greater context. It's all contained within a context of the more than. Now, what I mean by this, it's contained within the context of spirituality, of a belief in planes of existence, that the plane in which we're operating as bards. So if I was singing to you now, or if I'm telling jokes to you now, or being satirical or whatever, in addition to operating on this plane, from a druidic perspective, I'm aware of other planes of existence too, of the world of the ancestors, of a belief in reality not being just two-dimensional or three-dimensional or whatever, however many dimensions the reductionist view holds, but of many, many dimensions. So a belief as well that it's not necessarily me that's talking, a belief that other beings can inspire us as bards to talk, that the earth can inspire us too. I remember when I was asked to write my second book on Druidry, I found it extremely difficult because the publisher gave me a sort of format of what they wanted me to do, and it just didn't work for me. And then a very, very dear friend died, and I went and sat on a hillside just across the way there and prayed for him. And then it was as if the hill spoke to me. And I didn't hear a voice saying, hello, I'm the hill, I've got something to tell you. It was subtle that. It was just as if the landscape was talking to me, and it said, come out here, come on a journey, just put a pack on your back and walk into us, the hills, us, the old tracks, us, the trees and the landscape, and be with us and feel your grief for this person who has died and open up to the more than. And that's where the Druid Way, the book The Druid Way, came from. So within the bardic tradition is included a love of the land. There's this understanding of the planes of existence, or a belief in other planes of existence. There's a belief in the ancestors and the power of the ancestors, the reality of the ancestors. There's a belief in the reality of spirits. There's a belief in the reality of beings in the other world who can inspire us. There's a love of the land. There's a love of locality. And with that comes as well, I think, a love of the small. Now, what I mean by that is, you know, when you've been brought up with a diet of kind of Hollywood movies and big entertainment, if you like, there's a way in which one's own life can seem very dull, you know. It's only the big stories, the big car crashes, the big car chases, the dramatic stories that seem to be attractive. Hence the whole celebrity culture, because who am I? I just live in an ordinary house. I don't, so you have celebrity culture. You have a whole society of people feeling inferior, worshipping people because they seem to have big lives. And of course, we know from when these people are interviewed and when they have their breakdowns and their problems and so on, we know that they're just as unhappy as everybody else. But it's this obsession with the big story that has led us away from an understanding of art and culture as embedded within a spiritual worldview and context, so that then the everyday becomes beautiful and the smallest things become beautiful. And I remember, I know I've talked about this before on Tea with a Druid, but there's a Czech film director who, I think he's Czech or maybe he's Polish, I can't remember, the color blue, the color red, and the color white. I think that's what the films are called. I remember hearing him talking about it. He talked about how a particular trick he has is the camera will focus on tiny details. And he gave as an example a character in the film putting a sugar lump on a teaspoon and lowering it into the teacup, and you just seeing the cube dissolve. And the camera lingers on that. So tiny details. Like, why are you bothering? Why can't we see a car chase? No. It's this small detail that is making you aware of the beauty of the everyday. And so I think, very simply, I think that a very practical reason for pursuing a spiritual path, a practical reason for pursuing Druidry, for example, is in order to enhance one's own creativity. And I was reading the other day about Richard Bach, who wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and he had problems finishing the book. He couldn't finish the story. He didn't know how to finish the story. And he did a silver method workshop, which is all about opening to other levels. And there's a particular technique in the silver method for going deep inside oneself, just like the kind of meditation that we did at the beginning of this, but different, but going deep, deep, deep. And he got the end of his story. And so that's why I think following a spiritual way like Druidry can really help us in our creative endeavors, let alone our goals of becoming more integrated and progressing spiritually and so on. So thank you for listening. Valentina is saying, my sister loved the film Red, Blue and White. She's been going on about it for decades now. So yes, Valentina, do have a look at those films. They're really interesting to watch. Yeah. So this, and I think this, just to finish, maybe finish with one thought, which is at this time of restrictions, where we have to stick to the small stories, if you like. We can't go off traveling to exotic places, and we can't go on sort of adventures that we might have done, if it hadn't been for the pandemic and so on. What's happening, and I hear it all the time, and I'm sure you hear it all the time as well, is, whenever we meet people in the street, locals and friends and all the rest of it, people are discovering the beauty in their locality, just in the small area that we live in, just within the square mile or 2 or 3 that we're placed in, that people are discovering new paths, new perspectives on their town, literally visual perspectives on the town, different places, different details in the architecture. Whatever it is, this is a moment to appreciate the small. We're being given the time to do that. So thank you all for listening and for participating. I am going to make myself a nice cup of tea, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to read all your comments. So lots and lots of love. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you again next week. Many, many blessings. Have a wonderful week. Bye.